Okay, give me a second here. I need just 1 second here. Oh, so that doesn't work. Okay, so much for that. All right. Those of you who are here, quick shout out. Let me know that you're here. Just say hi. And again, welcome to the DIY Fermentation Livestream number 8. Hey, I'm going to give a few more people a few more seconds to join in whilst I check everything out to make sure that everything's okay. If you can hear me okay, that let me know that everything is fine on your end. I'd appreciate it. And just a few seconds here. Okay. A few people have already joined in. Brad, welcome. Donald, welcome. Legendary Drew, welcome back. It wouldn't be a party without Legendary Drew in the house. All right, I'm glad you guys are here. And I'm going to give a few more people a few more seconds. Sound is good. Thank you, thank you, Drew. Appreciate that. Talk about sound qualities a little bit later on. Still waiting for a few more of the regulars to show up, but they'll come along in time. All right. A few housekeeping tasks I want to go through first, for those of you who are here. One, if you're new to this channel, DIY Fermentation is a channel that was designed for novice winemakers. As I like to say whenever I get the chance, it's a novice winemaker showing other novice winemakers how a novice winemaker makes wine. That's the principal focus of this channel. I don't use a lot of additives to the wine. You won't see me using, or at least not anymore, sulfites. You won't see me using things like clearing agents like bentonite or sparkaloid or a whole 9 yards. It's not a technical winemaking channel. Here, the focus is on keeping winemaking as simple as possible. More of a stepping stone, so to speak, so that when you become comfortable with making a simple gallon of wine, then you can advance to more advanced techniques in your winemaking. Yep, the mic is looking good. We'll talk more about that in a second. I'm so glad to have one compared to what I had been using. You've learned that bentonite doesn't work. Okay, I'll take your word for it, never having had the pleasure. Again, a few more housekeeping notes. One, I am knowledgeable of the wines that I've made. I am not knowledgeable of all things winemaking related. So if I'm asked a question on the channel in the comment section, if I know based on what I've made, I'll give you an answer. If I don't know, then I just don't know, and I'll let you know as such. Same thing with the fact that this is not really a diagnostic winemaking channel. If you've got an issue with a given batch of wine that you've got, I'll try to come up with an answer. Certainly, I'll do it for the members. Non-members, I'll give it a shot. But just letting you know that again, this is much more relaxed winemaking channel than perhaps you may have seen with some of the others. Let's see. By the way, now that we're talking about microphones, why is everybody so excited about my coconut wine? You know what? Since we're still waiting for things to get started, let me go grab that coconut wine real quick. Hadn't planned on doing it, but since it keeps coming up, let me pull it out. The current state of the coconut wine. I mean, it's still relatively cloudy. It's only been 2 months, so it still has a ways to go. Not even close to being ready for racking, but most of the fermentation has really kind of already been completed. Look, just by judging from the levels of the airlock, it's not really a whole lot happening there. Yeah, I probably will rack it in about a week or so, and then take another hydrometer reading just to make sure that fermentation has actually been complete, and it's just a question of bulk aging and letting it some of the CO2 outgas that way. But again, it's still been a short period of time, so this will take a while. Get this out of the way. Room on my table for that. Okay. Donald, of course, if you've noticed that I had made an elderflower wine, which cleared up actually within a few weeks. If I were not planning on doing a step back sweetening method for that particular wine, which is something I really need to start thinking about doing relatively quick, I would probably just go ahead and bottle it and let it bottle age for the next several months. It's really that clear. All right, I'm going to go off the live chat for a hot second. I want to finish this up. For those of you who contributed to the last month's super chat, super stickers, memberships, it did allow me to buy a microphone. Okay, so no more of that lapel mic for me. This will probably be, well, I won't say that. In terms of live streams, this will be the mic that I'll be using, unless I have guests, in which case they'll be using the lapel mic. But I still have to use that lapel mic for my videos. It's just easier that way, because otherwise I would have to drag my computer and bring everything over here and set everything up just to do a video, and I'm not doing that. It's too much work. Let's see. I'm going to finish up my housekeeping issues before I hit the live stream. I'm going to let's see if I can do this. If this is going to work this time, let me see. All right. I want to give special thanks to the following two members. One is Karina Bennett, who gave a donation to the channel, the DIY Fermentation channel PayPal donation account. And also another shout out to Lanier Swan. I gave a shout out, I think, in the raisin wine tasting video, but I just wanted to give you another shout out for becoming a member. Hey, I do appreciate it. On the subject of donations, let me clear this out, see if I can do this without messing anything up. Okay, that worked. As it stands right now, well, for the past year, last year, I've been using, see if I can do this again. I've been using my cell phone as my primary camera, okay? For videos and live streams, like right now, this has been the camera that I've been using. It's nice, but let's just be honest. I think I've kind of getting to the point where I've outgrown the capabilities of this camera. So I'm now going to start asking for donations to help purchase a new camera, whether in the form of super chats or super stickers or outright direct donations to the PayPal account. Because what I want to get is something along the lines of this. It's a Canon Rebel ES or EOS Rebel T8i, just the camera body only. I've already got lenses for my old Canon camera that I had to sell a few years ago in order to make ends meet. It happens, but I kept my lenses. So this is what I'm going to shoot for. All donations, and again, super chats, memberships, all that money is going to end up in the DIY Fermentation PayPal account. And as soon as I've got enough or close to enough, I'm going to go ahead and get a serious camera for this channel so that we can have a much a better experience visually. But enough of that. Links for the PayPal account will appear in the comment section or the description section after the video. And see if I can do this again. Get off the screen there. And one other thing about YouTube is that going through YouTube takes a 30% cut. So that's why I kind of recommend using the PayPal link. Let's see one last item. The mid-month live stream. I put out a little poll in the community section about doing a live stream, yes or no. Looks like the yeses kind of have it. I was going to wait till I've had at least 100 people make their voices known one way or the other. I'm going to try for a mid-month this month. It'll probably be on a weekday as opposed to a weekend. But as I look at all of the work that I have to do to set up my dining room to turn this into a live stream studio, I don't know about that. I have to think about that a little bit more. But if there is going to be a live stream, I'll let you know in the community section that this is what's going to happen. I see No is in the house. Having missed all of the announcements, you'll catch it during the replay. But just for you, just in case you missed it, I'm trying to raise funds for a new camera to replace my cell phone, which is currently it's an Android phone for us Android users. It's one of the older Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus phones, which is no longer getting Android updates, but as long as they keep giving me the security updates, I guess I'm okay as far as keep using this phone. But the phone is not the issue. The fact is I need better equipment for a better experience for you guys. And that takes care of all of the housekeeping items that I had on my list. Let's take a look at some of the questions. Let's see. We talked about the Elderberry Wine. It didn't work as a fining agent. We're still talking about bentonite not working. I don't know. They rave about it so much. It's kind of like, a second coming for clearing wine as opposed to just waiting it out with time. Catalina Clichette, hello from Romania. You got to let me know what time it is in Romania. I'm just kind of curious whether or not you're in the middle of the morning, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, or if we're talking about a reasonable hour. Do you make any larger batches? No, let me back up before I answer that one, Joel. Legendary Drew, cucumber wine is in progress. Making my first, Legendary, I don't know if you're a member. No, you're not a member, so you haven't seen the latest upload that I'm currently working on, which is a beetroot wine. Beets for the rest of us. That's probably, I think, the first time I'm using I guess it's considered a vegetable. Yeah, it is. First time I'm using a vegetable to make a wine. Not too sure about how that's going to turn out, but hey, I'm game, so I'm going to make it. And 6 or 7 months down the road, we'll find out, if it's going in the right direction or not. Do you make any larger batches, Joel? Well, no. Yes and no. Occasionally, I will make a 2-gallon batch of a given wine, whether it's going to be a strawberry or a lemon. Sometimes I'll do a 2-gallon batch of store-bought grape juice wine, but for the most part, no. 1-gallon batches are it for a couple of reasons. One, I have no idea for the most part what these wines are going to taste like, if they're going to be something that I'm going to enjoy, or if they're going to be something that I really wish I could just pour down the kitchen sink and be done with. So I do small batches because of you don't really know what to expect. Also, I do small batches because this is a small apartment. I mean, I really don't have a whole lot of space to be storing umpteen gallons of wine, even though I am storing umpteen gallons of wine now. It's getting a little out of hand. So 1-gallon batches are probably the largest that I'm going to do, certainly for this channel. Donald, remember the back sweetening trick I told you? Please try it. Donald, no, I do not recall that. I'm sorry. I remember somebody came up with an idea for, that was pasteurization. I think that was what you were referring to, if memory serves me correct. And I kind of looked at that. I've been looking online at that. I've been looking at some of the videos from some of the other channels who have done that. I know City Steading just came out with a revised method for doing it. I could see the merit in doing it, but I'm not quite sure that that's a video that I'm contemplating anytime soon, unless there's a simpler method for doing it. I mean, I would like to try it, but not the way that I'm seeing it being done, even though I'm sure it works and it would solve a lot of problems. I'm not yet ready for that. Brad Palmer, 10 past midnight in the UK. How could it be 10 past midnight? So we're talking 10 o'clock in the morning. It's a 12-hour, 6-hour difference for a 12-hour difference. Well, that's not too bad. 10 past midnight. I'm going to clarify that just a little bit, Brad. Legendary Drew, beetroot sounds good. A lot of these recipes sound good. And a lot of them just sound plain strange when I'm doing the research for trying to find something new to make for this channel. I mean, I'll come up. I'll start looking for ideas, and then once I want to try a given recipe, then there's the internet search, and then I do a YouTube search to see if anyone else has done it, and if they have done it, how well received their video was after they did it, as to whether or not it's something I might want to try. But then I have to go through the process of, and this is how I generally come up with these wines. I generally have to then refine the recipe to simplify it so that I'm stripping out a lot of the additives that the original recipe might have called for, to make it as simple as possible for, again, a novice winemaker just trying to throw something together just to see if they can make a batch of wine as simply as possible. Ezra Gonzalez, top 3 exotic and unusual wines to make. Well, the exotic wines keep on coming. I can't really say that there's a top 3 yet. I know there is one of that top 3 exotic wines that I'm not going to make, and that's an onion wine. If for no other reason that for the top 3 fruits or foods that I do not like to eat, onions is number 1. Okay, that's not something that I'm going to put on a hamburger as my first item of choice. But if you like that. No, I think I answered this question in the last live stream. I'll go with the top 3, not in this particular order. One is, of course, the most simplistic, almost gave a name there, is the store-bought grape juice wine. Okay, that's almost impossible to mess up, and it's probably one of the tastiest ones that I actually do make on a regular basis. The lemon wine is another. No, there are actually 4. Strawberry wine, of course. I've got people who say they really like that, so I usually make that in multiple gallon batches when I can. And last but not least, this is number 4 of the positives, would be the dark cherry wine. I mean, at 6 months, I mean, that was pretty tasty, even though I knew it was only half done. So I'm really waiting for the 1 year tasting for that particular batch. Brad Palmer, parsnip and carrot wines are in my list of to-do wines. Never had a parsnip. I think I've seen carrot somewhere before online. Donald, well, it's actually to kill the yeast and be. Well, yeah, you're right about that. I mean, in terms of pasteurization, yeah, its primary purpose is to kill the yeast so that you don't restart fermentation. You're calling it secondary fermentation, even though you're already in the secondary fermentation stage. Yeah, and I'm going to do a separate video on the step back sweetening method that I'm currently doing. Is that when fermentation is been complete, your hydrometer reading is stopped, for the past couple of days or so, it hasn't moved. You then add a little bit of additional sugar. I usually use about anywhere from a quarter to a half a cup, depending on how I feel. There's no hard and fast rule. And then you put your airlock back on and you put it away. Well, you take your readings before and after. You put it away, and then a few weeks later on, you check your hydrometer reading again. And if it has not changed, then the fermentation has been completed. You can go ahead and add as much sugar as you like. If it has changed, then that means fermentation has not yet been completed, and you have successfully increased the amount of alcohol that your wine, your ABV level of your wine, which is why you sometimes see me with 18.4% and so on and so forth in some of these wine tastings, like that raisin wine I just did, where you've got a higher ABV than what you normally would have using, say, the pasteurization method, or if you were using sulfites to stop fermentation, or if you're using non-fermentable sugars as a way to get past the fermentation aspect. There are a number of ways around it, and a lot of these were explained in my back sweetening video that's in the my winemaking operations playlist, which is in the community page where you can find all of the intervening steps towards making wine. Okay. No, thank you very much. I was so fixated on the back sweetening method that I almost didn't see your donation. I do appreciate it. And if you did miss the aspect as to where these donations are now going, in fact, I'm going to try this just for you, just for you, in case you did miss it. I have decided that all super chats, super stickers, and donations are going to be used for the purchase of a new camera. Might take a while, but this is what I'm shooting for. If it gets close, within like $100 or $200 from the actual cost, including tax, then I might reach into my pocket and just go ahead and finish the shortfall that we're coming up missing. But basically, yeah, I can't keep using my cell phone. It's nice and all, but I need a real camera to do a real job for making this channel. So let me get back out of here, and I can close that. Okay. And I could minimize this whole thing. Okay. Did I miss anything? Haha, you're awesome. Of course I am. Hold on, let me back that up a little bit. Ezra, I agree. No onion wines. Thank you for your recommendations. I'm not saying that there's not a place in the world for onion wines. I'm just simply saying there's not a place on my table for onion wine. What is your opinion about 1 week wine kits? Don't know, never tried it. Like the Besky ones, again, don't know, never tried it. Nope, haven't tried it at all. So I have no opinion there. Sue, I'm making a batch of beetroot also, and I have a batch of tomato wine. Have you, Sue, just curious, have you ever made the beetroot wine before? And if you have, what's your opinion of it? Just so I can have a heads up so that I'll know what to expect. My beetroot wine video, again, the first day's shooting was made available to the members today. More than likely, I probably won't start the remaining video shooting of that till tomorrow or the day after. Usually the first day shooting is like the introduction, and then there's that title screen, and then there's me announcing any new members, and then there's the actual screen where you have everything laid out on the table, and I'm pointing saying, well, to make this wine, we're going to be using the following this, and so forth. Usually I can do that, in one day, and then call it a day. It's when you start chopping up fruit and vegetables and start boiling water, and basically you've moved operations into the kitchen where there's no really stopping it. You're kind of committed. I usually kind of put those off a day or two until I, get in the mood to go ahead and finish it. But again, members know what's going on that first day. And again, I appreciate if more of you would become members. Alchemist, ever try making a ginger wine? No, but it is on my content calendar. It is something that I am going to try at some point later this year. C.S. Mead and more, Donald Brower, C.S. Mead and more made a ginger beer. Well, I've done that. A lot of us have done that. That's not really that hard. It becomes harder if you're going to try and make a ginger. It's a starter, a ginger starter. I forgot the actual name of it. Where it's going to take several days to get a yeast culture growing, so you can add that to your ginger recipe. Now I just use yeast, store-bought yeast or commercial yeast, because it's just a whole lot quicker. I cut several days out of that whole operation. But yeah, ginger beer is not that hard to do. That's easy, really. I made a ginger beer. Can I back sweeten the first week of fermentation? No. John, why would you do that? Primary fermentation is still in midstream, quite frankly, all you're doing is just simply adding more sugar and giving the yeast something more to eat during that period. You want the yeast pretty much to have developed enough alcohol so that the yeast alcohol is actually beginning to kill off the yeast. To the point where when you do add more sugar, there's not going to be enough yeast alive in the alcoholic environment for it to begin chowing down on the new sugar that you've just added. That's kind of like the purpose of that. So no, adding sugar during the first week, no, unless you kind of forgot to add sugar initially, or if you've decided, later on that during that week that you want to try for rocket fuel as opposed to wine. That's my thinking on that. No, I saw the member cast. Good luck on the new camera. Well, you've contributed. I forgot what 30% of $50 was. I can't do it off the top of my head. But yeah, that money will be, when I receive it next month, that will be redirected to the DIY Fermentation PayPal account, and just let that money accumulate. Do tape to the fridge. Okay. I heard you blend fruits in fruit winemaking. Let me try that again. I heard if you blend fruits and fruit winemaking, it can break the seeds, causing an off flavor in fruit. That is true. Normally, I do not blend fruits that have seeds, like strawberries. I think that's probably the biggest culprit there. So no, and besides, for fruits like strawberries, it really isn't necessary to do any blending, because after about a week, 5 to 7 days in primary fermentation, now that I no longer use sulfites, it gets placed into boiling water. I don't boil the fruit. I just let the water come to a boil, put the fruit in, and then turn the heat off and let it come down to room temperature that way. But when you, after about a week in your primary fermenter, you really have nothing left but mush. So there's really no need to blend fruits like strawberries, because they will break down pretty good on their own. Let's see, Sue. This is my first time, move that cursor out the way, on the beats. Okay. All right. Well, then it's a learning experience together. Robert Barnes, what are the straining bag? This question comes up. I have not seen them listed in your supply list. You're right, because, okay. I'm glad you kind of reminded me of that. Okay, straining bags. The straining bags that I'm using are paint straining bags. You can find them at Home Depot, and you can find them at Lowe's. If they're not showing up in my list of supplies because I'm not an affiliate of Home Depot and I'm not an affiliate of Lowe's, and they don't really sell them. They might have them on Amazon, but I've never really done the search for them there since I didn't buy mine there. But yeah, regular paint straining bags that come in, I think, 1 and 5 gallon versions. They're dirt cheap. I mean, really, they're really, really cheap. They're very, very durable. You can pretty much, if you've got fruit in there and you're trying to squeeze out that last drop of juice that might be in the remaining pulp, they'll stand up without splitting or anything else. I swear by them. Ginger bug. Thank you, Robert. That was it. Al? Ginger bug? Well, since Robert kind of like beat you to the point, thank you for an honorable mention. Brad Palmer, 30 is $15, which is, that's money that could be used towards going to a camera as opposed to being used to, I'm not going to knock YouTube because they are providing the platform for making this all possible. But, if I can use that money for something else, that's my thinking on that. Paint straining bags, very interesting. Hey, they work very well. Let's see. No, I don't want tea. Better yet. It's been over a year and a half since I've been able to do that. All right, now then, where are we? Are there any drawbacks to using 1 gallon of wine and 5 gallon? Nope, none whatsoever. I mean, the fermenter that you see me using, the big one, that can take up to 3 gallons, and you see me using it for 1 gallon batches all the time. So no big deal there. Not during primary fermentation, because that extra headspace doesn't matter. In fact, it's helpful during primary. It's only when you rack it in the secondary that you really don't want a whole lot of headspace. Although that first rack, depending on some of the fruit you're using, especially with meads, you might want to have a little bit larger headspace because there's a lot of foaming action with some of these wines right after that initial first racking. Do you use any particular software? This is for Robert. Do you use any particular software for your labels? I do. I use Canva, which is free. Buried somewhere in my description is an actual link to the Canva website. They have a number of templates for doing wine labels. Again, it's free. I looked at what they're charging monthly for. What they want monthly. I probably will get a monthly subscription to Canva, so it will open up more of their services. But I think it was $12.99 a month. Not ready to do that, especially not while I'm trying to get a camera for this channel. Brad Palmer, my next is going to be banana wine. That banana wine is probably going to end up being pretty good, but it's one of those wines that take a while. Okay, we're talking about 12 to 16 months for the banana wine to actually be fully ready. It'll clear up in a couple of weeks. You're ready to bottle it. I bottled mine after 8 weeks, and there's still absolutely no sediment at the bottom of my bottles at all. So, and this is, I'm surprised with that. Probably the same thing with that elderflower wine. That it's 2 months in, but it's actually clear enough for me to bottle. I haven't started back sweetening that yet, so I'm not gonna bottle it. I'm just gonna start adding sugar and see what happens. But yeah, banana wine, for what little bit that I had tasted of it, ended up pretty good. The only change that I made, or would make when I make it again, would be to use all brown sugar instead of that half granulated sugar and half brown sugar that I did the first time, because I never made wine with brown sugar before, so I wasn't quite sure how that was going to turn out. But apparently that it's going to turn out quite well. Let's see. Nope. Brad Palmer, Legendary Drew. Whip out. Cheers. I think I got this last week, and I've been waiting to open it. I've been waiting for this this live stream so that I could do the opening. Was that I got my first COVID shot last week, so I'm happy about that. That's cause for celebration. Good. All right. By the way, I had a full dinner, so if you're hoping that you might see me, stumbling around, that's not what happened. All right. Let's see. Well, thank you, John. Appreciate that. Let me see if I can do something here. I'm trying some of these new features. Participants. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, YouTube has an option on the live stream panel that lets you know the name of the participants. Right now, I've got 23 concurrent users, but it's only showing me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names. So that feature is going to be absolutely useless. Won't be using that at all. So yeah, at the beginning of the live streams, I'll continue to ask you, just give me a quick shout out. Let me know that you're there. So I know who all is there. Rub Duck Sue, congrats. Thank you very much. But again, it's going to be at least another week and a half before shot number 2, and then 8 days after that before I'm immune. I can walk around without a mask, yeah, and not have to be feared for my life. Any concerns for oxygen disposal or stirring every 24 hours during the first week? Nope, none whatsoever. The extra oxygen is beneficial. The yeast is going to need that additional oxygen to help it begin fermentation. More so by virtue of the fact that with the wines that I'm making, because I'm not using yeast nutrients or yeast energizers, the yeast is going to need every little bit of help I can give it. So yeah, normally I will go the first 3 days of giving it a good vigorous stir once a day. After that, I'll give it a good swirl. Okay, I'm not really taking a chance of putting in some additional oxygen by the vigorous stirring that I did the first 3 days. And then after that, I'm ready to rack. Again, like I said very early on, this is not a technical winemaking channel, so I'm not really waiting for I am not waiting for my hydrometer to come down to a certain reading before I decide, well, that's the point in which I'm supposed to be rack this in the secondary. No, 5 to 7 days I'm racking. So, because if for no other reason, I got to move on to the next batch of wine for this channel. I can't have stuff waiting around for a hydrometer reading to come up with a magic number. And that's been working fine since I started this channel. So I'm not changing. There's no point in me making it any more complicated for you guys than is necessary. Connie Sminer's in house. Thank you, Connie, for joining. Appreciate it. Still a member. Gotta love that. Speaking of members, and I know I can't, I'm able to do this. Let me see. I want to do that. And I want to click YouTube and I want to go to Studio. Yeah, speaking of members, I currently have 3,823 subscribers. It would really be nice if I had 3,823 members. Okay. I'm just saying, help the channel out. Let's see. Let me get out of here without messing anything up. Here we go. Marjorie Dean, just a newbie here, enjoying your channel. I'm glad you dropped by. So many wines to make. I just racked my first strawberry wine. When it's done, you really are going to enjoy it. Trying to learn all I can to be successful. Thank you for your info. Well, Connie, I'm sorry, Margie Dean, again, thank you for dropping in. Of the multitude of winemaking channels out there, I mean, there are some that have a similar format to mine. Mine is modeled loosely on City Steady, because before I decided to do a channel and I was just learning how to make wines, I kind of like their approach for making wines. Even though, yeah, they are a husband and wife team, and yeah, they do have a team of rotating assistants to help them with their channel. I don't. Yeah, that was the impetus. Keeping it simple. Keeping it as simple as possible. It's kind of unfortunate that I don't get a chance to watch their channel anymore. Because if I watch their channel, it might tend to give me ideas in terms of how they approach their subjects versus how I want to approach my subjects in terms of making wine. But they did get, just recently, they did get 100,000 subscribers. And hey, kudos for them. Someday, maybe, I don't know. I might have 100,000 subscribers. But no, I have a winning formula, and I wish them the very best. Let's see, kind of funny. Yep. Everett Sutton, I am doing a pomegranate right now. I am so glad that I had the opportunity to do the 6-month tasting of my pomegranate wine to let me know that pomegranate And definitely, you can't mistake it. I mean, it was strong. And I don't mean in terms of alcoholic content. I mean, the flavor was strong. I don't know if I had a chance to go back and adjust the original recipe. I know I probably would have mentioned it in the original recipe on the original video, probably to use a third less pomegranate juice at least. But if you want something that's going to wake you up, that'll do it. I'm hoping that after 1 year, it might mellow out a bit. So we'll see how that goes. Have you ever tried any of Jack Kiel's recipes? The answer is no, I have not, but I keep seeing that name coming up when I am looking around for recipes. And somebody, the concept of a chocolate-based wine, I'm not ready for that yet. I don't know, maybe year 3 when I'm really scrambling around for recipes for this channel. But right now, that's not in the cards. But that name does keep coming up. So I think he has a book. I think for my own personal winemaking, when I'm ready to advance my winemaking techniques a bit more. Nothing that I'm going to put on this channel, but just for my own personal winemaking advancement, I probably will eventually end up getting his book because I keep seeing his name like everywhere. But yeah, it sounds really weird and interesting, but I really want to try it. Well, if you do make it, please let me know what your real opinions are of it. But I'm not ready to do chocolate at all. Well, if it's in Karina Bennett, once again, if you weren't here early on, I did give you a special shout out for your donations. Once again, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I did indicate, if you weren't here earlier, where that money is going to go towards, and that's the purchase of a new camera for this channel. It might take a couple of months, but you were the first to make that donation. And hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. I knew as well. I just started with winemaking. I love your videos, the ones explaining different products that seem especially helpful. I am trying out oak cubes in my current batch. I don't really know what the size of the oak cubes were. The oak chips were the first thing that came to mind when I started the idea of doing a video on using oak, which I did once in one batch. I want to do it more, but I usually want to add my oak chips during that last period of fermentation. I've already begun back sweetening, and I just want to put in that last period of bulk aging, so that the oak will be in contact with the wine for a much longer period of time before bottling. Oak cubes. Problem with oak cubes is that I don't know really the size of the oak cubes. I don't really know if they're going to fit in these narrow cardboard openings. So I'm kind of leery of that. I know the oak spirals will do it. Sometimes I'll have to break the oak chips in order to get those to fit in, because I know that when they swell up after a period of time, they might be kind of hard to get out. But no, oak is oak. No, I won't say that at all. Let me take that one back. The form of the oak doesn't really matter in terms of flavor. It's going to get the job done. Thing about oak is that one, apart from the oak flavor, it is a good source of tannin, so that when you're seeing me using black tea as a tannin substitute in my wine mixtures, it's because at that time I was not using oak to provide the tannin in its place. I'll still use no product placements here. I'll still use the tea in my wines that recipes specify adding tannin to it, because I know a lot of people just aren't going to have oak chips or oak cubes or oak staves or oak spirals or oak barrels. I mean, we got to keep it at a very, very simple basic level. If you can find it at the grocery store, then you should be able to make a batch of wine. Although I would recommend wine yeast versus bread yeast, but hey, bread yeast will work. Let's see. I don't want to get too far behind here. John, I've noticed. Have you noticed the difference between stirring the first 3 days versus just letting it sit? Well, I mean, you could just let it sit, but I mean, if you're going full, I mean, if you're going with oak joke. I mean, if you're using yeast energizers and yeast nutrients and all of that, then you probably don't have to stir any additional oxygen. Have I noticed any real difference? No, because I just do the stir just as a matter of course. I mean, it's just something that I now do because I know that it is beneficial to the yeast, and yeah, it is just something that I do. Let's see. Mine is mead. Kind of lost me there for a second there, Everett. Might want to elaborate just to remind me. Oh, the pomegranate mead. Well, that sounds tasty. That does. Yeah. Hey, there's an idea. Something to add to the content calendar. It's a melomel. Oh, really? So you're using actual pomegranate then? Okay. Yeah, because the more and more I think about it, even though I did suggest using less pomegranate juice, I mean, that pomegranate is... you may have seen some of my white wine tasting videos where I'll make mention of the fact that there's not a whole lot of flavor. It's kind of like a hint of whatever it is that I was trying to make, like peach, or we can just barely taste the peach, or the well, whatever it is. You will not mistake the taste of that pomegranate. Like I said before, it really comes through. Flavored meat. All right. Ah. Okay. John, thank you. More funds for the camera fund. I appreciate that. Because I really want to make this happen. I want to bring this picture up again because the more and more I look at it, the more and more it looks like such a pitiful sight. Here it is. I mean, this is what I see when I do my videos. This is the only difference between this picture and what I've got in front of me now is that I usually now leave it in the case, the cell phone case, because it has slipped out of the holder on more than one occasion. And one time it kind of cracked the screen protector. Well, it was already cracked, but it just kind of made matters worse. That holder is not really all that. It just wasn't designed for repetitive use. It was designed for a much smaller little tripod stand, something about yay high. I mean, it really wasn't all that tall. I just bought it to help with video conferencing a little bit, but it's not a very secure scenario. So yeah, this whole concept has got to change, and it's as simple as that. So again, that contribution that you just made, click that, and here we go. Let's minimize that. Okay. Yeah, the $3.99 contribution, John, that's where your money's going. Just like if you were not here at the beginning of this video, the super chats and live streams, that one for the new microphone. And if you had ever seen some of my, at least the last two, it was a big fight between me and the mic and the lapel mic, which I put away after I did this morning's video. It was a big fight. It's one of those things. I mean, ultimately, I would like to get one where the microphone is kind of like hanging above where it's out of sight and it gives me free room to do whatever it is I need to do. Or I don't know if I'm going to get a little arm where the microphone kind of like is like right in front of me with a big little, they call them pop filters in front, so that you get that full deep voice that I have when I'm, trying to impress the ladies. But no, that's more of a want and not a need. Right now, I'm focusing on what I need for this channel, and that's fluff. I can get that anytime, really. Let's see. This may be a dumb question, but have you made a rosé? The answer is no. I've not made any of the more standardized wines, your rosés, merlots, chablis. I want to try and make a Zinfandel. I do want to try and make a Zinfandel because that's like more of my go-to wines when I'm going out and looking for wine at the store. But no, I've not made a rosé, not yet. I mean, not a true rosé, grape, using actual grapes or grape juice or, like that. No, I haven't done it. I might do something like that from every once in a great while when this channel can like more or less afford it to do something like that. Or kit wine, just to say that, okay, this is what a kit wine looks like. And this is, that whole 9 yards. But no, I have not done something like that just yet. Again, I'm trying to keep things at a very, very simplistic level. This is not an actual progression of winemaking skills over time. I realized very early on that a lot of people aren't going to be if I start here and then I finally advance to this stage, a lot of people just coming in might still be down here. And I'm talking about things that might be, out of their scope. So for this channel, everything's kept at a very, very simple level. Everett Simon, my choice of fruit, pomegranates, was due to a surplus in supply. Can't argue with that. Katie Byrne 123. Some of the Bluetooth headsets work great. Well, I don't know if it's kind of off topic, but I have a pair of Sony. The naming conventions on their headphones are so long, but I think it's the W8 1000 Mark IIs. Okay, right now they're in the Mark IVs. The Mark IIs still beat out the Bose QC35s ever since they were introduced. So I have a very good set of headphones in that regard. I'm thinking about getting a pair of earbuds, because I don't really want to use my earphones when I'm commuting across town on public transportation. I'd rather have something that's a little bit more innocuous and not something that screams, hey, these look expensive, sort of thing, if I can avoid it. Let's see, back on topic. Sat 12, at DIY Fermentation, got my attention. Have you done a mango wine? I have. And I started to grab that bottle, but put it back. I've done both the mango wine and I've done the mango I think it was a 6-month tasting, or was it 7? It was either a 6 or 7-month mango wine tasting. So you can take my videos, list of videos for those, and you'll find those 2 videos there. Let's see, as a mic. No, I don't really need to use headphones as a mic, quite honestly. I may do it from time to time when I'm making phone calls, just for the call clarity and the fact that the noise cancellation is really a good thing. But in terms of doing it for this channel, there's no need for it. I don't need to do it. So yeah, when you see when you're watching videos where people are doing their videos or they're live streaming, they've got the headphones on and the microphone is like right up here and there's pop filter and all that. I don't really need to do all that. It's not necessary for this channel. Again, I'm trying to keep things overall as simple as possible. That for me, for this channel, is kind of an unnecessary expense. And well, yeah, I'll say this. Before this channel became monetized, it took 9 months from start to monetization for this channel to start making money, and everything was coming out of my pocket. It was coming out of my pocket at a time when those pockets were not deep at all. As I was telling No on the ride here the last time we saw each other, I had a lot of ramen noodle days to get me through. In fact, I still have 3 packs of ramen noodles sitting in my cabinet right now. I mean, those are kind of like more mementos. I don't eat them. I don't really want to eat them if I can help it. But no, those are just to remind me that when times get tough and you've got priorities, and for those first 9 months, this channel was a priority. Yeah, I would sacrifice for this channel. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Let's see. Have you ever thought of making a sparkling hard cider? I have made sparkling wines more or less by accident. It's still something that I have on my content calendar as something that I want to do intentionally to make a sparkling wine. But the problem that I have is that, yeah, it's still a problem. The problem I have that with using the step back sweetening method that I do use, the normal approach for home winemakers making a sparkling wine would be to go ahead and let it go dry in terms of the hydrometer reading coming in below 0.994 or 990, then adding sugar and putting then putting it in a pressurized bottle, those little smaller Otis type bottles. You can get that to become a sparkling wine that way, but because I'm constantly adding sugar to overwhelm the yeast by raising the alcohol level, I can't really do that. Some wines like that grapefruit wine, actually I just bottled that earlier this week, stayed naturally carbonated throughout the entire process, right up until I decided to go ahead and degas it, since I bought a new degassing one finally, so I could do a degassing video finally. That was one that I could have just simply left as is, and it would have ended up being a sparkling wine. I mean, we're not talking about like champagne sparkling wine, but there would have been a fair amount of bubbles and a fair amount of fizz, per sip. But yeah, it's something I want to try and do, but I just haven't been able to do it yet. Good day for a box of wine. I hit the bell for notifications, but I'm getting notified when you post or stream. Could you post on the community page ahead of? I started to do that, but I will do that as a matter of course in the future. Yeah, you should. There are some streams where I've noticed that when I've done that, I can't say that I've really been notified. Like some of the everyday astronauts, SpaceX launch notifications, I'll hit the notification button so that I'll be kind of reminded, since I'm on YouTube constantly, really, seems like. No, I am. But I can't really say I'm really getting those notifications either. So yeah, I'll put those in the community section. Well, if I'm going to do it, yeah, they'll be in the community section for all for everybody, not just for members. Set 12. No. No, and no, I have not. And I did make a rice wine video. Actually, I made 2 rice wine videos. The initial video and the follow-up. And I ended up taking those videos offline. It was not, I tried to put a good face on it, but it was not a good experience overall. So I pulled those 2 videos and probably won't be making another rice wine on this channel. Tried it, didn't work. Moved on to the next thing. At 12, what do you like, natto, and what is the weirdest fermented food? I'm not going to go into fermented foods. That's off topic. And I don't know the reference for natto, N-A-T-T-O. I don't know what that is. Not about to Google it because I'm in the middle of something right now. So if you can elaborate. Let's see. Well, surprisingly, out of all of the wines that I've made so far, I've yet to make vinegar. So apparently the winemaking process is really very forgiving. You still, and I will always say this in every video, whether you're using Star Sands or if you're using One Step or whatever sanitation method of choice you are using, I strongly suggest that that is something that you do. Shouldn't really skip on that. It helps makes up for a multitude of sins. Sometimes you just got to speak slowly because the words just won't be in the right order. I did that one already. Did I miss any? Back up here a little bit. I think I've got all questions so far. If there are any, and I'll get to yours in a second. Okay, Bum, 1, 2, 3. Questions that I don't have the opportunity to answer during the live streams that pop up. It's still a small crowd, so I can pretty much hit most of the questions that are there. But if I should miss one or overlook one, it's not intentional. And what I usually will end up trying to do is that when I review the video and I see that there's a question that didn't get answered, I'll usually put those in the community section and try and give you an answer for you there. Because hey, you're taking your time to focus in on this channel, and you took the time to ask a question. I should feel that it's on me to make sure that your question gets answered. It might not be the answer you were expecting, but I'll make sure that everything does get touched upon. What about flavoring alcohol with nuts? What is this, Sat? Why would I heard the whole walnuts would chill. Well, let me know how that works out for you, because that's not something that I'm going to do on this channel. Okay, there's a limit to some of the new ideas that I'm going to expose this channel to. And right now, working with nuts is not going to be one of those. Use Milton tablets for sanitizing. That's a new one. Haven't heard of that one before. Nope, haven't heard that one before. More than likely, I probably will switch to One Step because One Step, I know, based on what I've been reading, kind of breaks down into oxygen and some other component, which seems to be a lot more palatable is the word I want to use than Star Sands, which I'm really kind of having a hard time finding out what it actually breaks down into. I know it's basically, you can't drink this, but in its diluted form, when you're using it to sanitize your equipment, I've seen people time after time after time just fill up their fermenters, and you've got wads of a Star Sands foam floating to the top. I'm not too sure about all that. We'd like to know what this breaks down into, though. It's basically, unless you drink it, it's basically kind of safe, but I might end up switching. Okay. Have you done meads? Sat, I have. I might suggest that you might want to take a look at my video listings in the community section. I've done several meads to date. Come to think, I got one of them right here. This is a strawberry mead that's currently in the works. Started this one in January. Right now, it's clearing up very nicely. In fact, even though I just swirled up some sediment at the bottom, it does need to be racked. The remaining layer is actually clear enough to be bottled. But yeah, I've got several meads that are currently in process. Getting, I think, another month, next month, I'll be doing the first 6-month tasting of my very first mead, which is just a plain mead. So kind of curious to see how that goes. It's already been back sweetened. Oh, no, it's not. It's in the process of being back sweetened because I just back sweetened it some more with honey. Yeah, it was earlier this week. So that's now in the step back feeding process. It's okay now. It's a little drier than I would like. I think fermentation has already been completed, so I can go ahead and add some additional honey, but I just want to make sure about that hydrometer reading before I do. But yeah, I've got several meads that have already been done. About Good day for a box of wine. Post office box yet? No, it's not. It's one of those, dang, do I really want to spend money on a post office box? It's getting there for this channel. It's starting to get there. So we can help cut down on cost, on honey costs, etc. No donated some honey. She stopped to buy a trying to think of the name for beekeeper. She's going to remind me, I hope. But she bought back some actual unadulterated raw, just made by bee type honey, and it's kind of expensive, quite honestly. If I paid that much for honey at Walmart, I don't think I would be making very many meads. I made one mead with the batch that she gave me, and that was it was the strawberry mead. I've asked her to come up with an idea for using the remainder of the honey for another batch. I don't think she quite knows what she can, what meads she can make. What's the word I want to use? I don't think she knows the full range of meads that could be made. So I think she's kind of like letting me decide that one. Have you finished bottling in carboys instead of? No, I have not. The biggest reason for that is that even though I've got almost 24 carboys now, I think 20. Bought one yesterday. I don't really have enough carboys to let me do that. Before I have to before I have to put them in bottles. Usually I'll come up with 5 bottles a lot quicker. Well, that's changed now. I now get at least 1 carboy a month. That's usually the first of the month where I can keep track of the expenditures a little bit easier. But usually I'll get a new carboy, which, by the way, these are recycled wine bottles, wine jugs rather. And even though I can't say that I'm a big fan of what's inside it, I'll give them a quick plug. I don't know if this is coming in backwards or reverse on your screen, but basically it reads as Carlo Rossi. Okay. I get them at Walmart's. They're on the bottom shelf. Okay. I'll usually scrape the label off, but it seems it's just a little bit more than trying to get them off Amazon, because Amazon is only going to have, for the most part, just the 1 gallon jugs that are vastly overpriced. And then by the time you add shipping, you're actually paying more than what you're paying Walmart for their stuff. But yeah, if I can get my hands on a couple of apple jugs, there is, I think, a Whole Foods store fairly close to here. They might still have them in the 1 gallon jugs. I'd like to get a couple of 1 gallon jugs, because after you've racked a 4 liter carboy, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose a certain layer of wine, and that reminds me, I'll talk about that in a second. You're going to lose a certain layer of wine that if you don't replace, eventually it's just going to come down to a point where this will fit nicely into a 1 gallon size, down from the 4 liter version. Just as a tip, as an aside, when you're making your initial batch, going into your initial fermenter, you might want to add just a little bit more juice or just a little bit more water, so that when you've done your first racking and you've filled up your container, you'll have at least a cup, if you're lucky, half cup if you're not, of juice. Well, at that point, it's really not juice. We'll call it wort, left over, so that you can actually put those in a baggie or one of those little Ziploc round plastic containers, and put those in the freezer. And when you're ready to do subsequent racking, you just take them out, thaw them out, and then when you've done your racking and you've got extra head space that you need to fill up, go ahead and fill it up with your existing juice. It's a lot better than using just water or diluting it with something else, or using marbles or anything else to bring your level up. Yep, just a tip. All right, let's see. But I am working on that post office box. Well, no, let me take that back. I'm still contemplating. Okay, it's different from me going over to the post office and getting one done. I need to because some of the items that I'm having shipped in are being shipped in via the post office, and my post office box, or my post office box out in front of the apartment complex is only but so big. Okay, and if they don't put it in if it doesn't fit, I have to. They won't redeliver. Well, they do now because I made friends with the postman, and we've worked out an arrangement where I can relieve myself of some of my excess. I would have to go down to the post office annex, which is like 6 miles down the road, and it's hard to get to. So yeah, the post office box would make things a whole lot easier. Thinking about it, contemplating it seriously. Nope. Your first mead is almost like your first love. You always remember it. Well, I'm hoping it, even though I've had, just a tiny smidge of tastings of it so far, it seems like it's promising. I hope so. People keep going on about mead so much that I'm kind of hoping that it does turn out quite well. So far, I don't seem to be unimpressed with it, but we'll see. We'll see. Sat 2, what is your favorite three? We already Sat actually already answered this question earlier. Oh, and actually, this question was already answered. There are actually 4, and I'll just repeat. Store-bought grape juice, dark cherry wine, and the strawberry, followed by lemon. Let's see. Is this still hot? When I started thinking about doing this live stream, I considered doing this as a taste testing live stream. I'm starting to get backed up in some of my videos, and this would have been a way to help relieve some of that backlog. Then this idea came to mind, so I started to do that instead. Besides, I've already done the peach wine, but I still have a few more that I really need to get to. It's becoming harder and harder to do the 6-month tasting because these are sitting in cardboards now longer than 6 months, and I'm not bottling them as soon as I used to. So still wondering how I'm going to work that out. I might have to do away with the 6-month tasting altogether, but I do want to get something in before the 12-month tasting, just because the taste testing videos seem to be kind of popular. I don't know why. They were just an idea just to fill up a midweek video, but they seem to be kind of popular, so they will continue. Any additional questions? According to this, there are still 20 of you there, and I really wish the participants screen would give me a listing of everybody there. And it doesn't, just gives me 1 now. That feature doesn't really work. Okay. Sat 12, how about a barley wine? Basically beer with high ABV. No, not going to do a barley wine. I think City Steading just did a grain mead. Forgot what it was because I didn't really see the video. No, but long before I do something like that, I do need to do another beer video. I don't know if it's going to be another a Brew Demon beer in a can type concept, or if it's going to be something where I'm using actual barley and hops and all of that that I need to stock up on. But yeah, I do need to start doing more beer videos. I haven't done one in almost a year, so I want to add more to my video listings there. Basically, how do you know how much to carbonate? I don't carbonate at all. I don't want to blow up a bottle. No. I don't carbonate at all. If it ends up being carbonated, and again, this was before I purchased I know I should have brought it out, but no, I just did a video on that, on the degassing video I did 2 videos ago. Yeah, I don't really have to worry about not properly degassing my wines anymore. But just to be on the fair side, I've had by not properly degassing my wine. I've had 2 that have popped corks, and I had 1 explode. Damn. That put the fear. That's when I decided, okay, enough is enough. It's time to get me a proper degassing wine, and I can start properly degassing my wines. But yeah, beyond that, unless I'm going to try and intentionally leave one carbonated, just because I'm planning to do one at some point. No, I'm not gonna take that chance anymore. Nope. Okay. Oh, in case anybody's interested, the reason why I'm using the lemon peel in Jack Daniels, years ago I noticed that if you leave in, or if you do a twist of lemon peel and you let it sit for a little bit, it mellows out Jack Daniels quite a bit. I won't say it mellows it out to the point of, say, their product, Gentleman Jack, which I certainly can't afford anymore. But it does mellow it out quite a bit. Lemon slice won't do it because the lemon juice doesn't work, but the oils and the lemon peel itself tends to mellow it out quite a bit. But okay, enough of that. Let's see. Brad, exploding wine. It's not a pleasant thought. Apart from the fact that you've just lost a bottle, okay, which, whenever I'm giving my friends bottles of wine for enjoyment, I will almost always ask get the bottles back because bottles are kind of on the pricey side. But yeah, when one explodes, I mean, that's gone. Never mind the mess, never mind the glass. It's just that bottle is gone. And you're going to have to replace it. Let's see, Karina. I cheat and use Sparkle. I see the accent mark under the E, over the E. Sparkle. Okay, Sparkle. To carbonate my wines before drinking. Is that anything like SodaStream, where you have that where it injects CO2 into your beverage? I'm too scared to bottle. Yeah, well, that's why you have to use pressurized wine bottles. I'm not going to get up and go get it. No, because it's in the bedroom. I'm not going to go get it. With the flip tops that are sealed, that the wire cage basically holds the cork top in place. Those are the ones you need to use. I mean, if you're using big bottles like champagne bottles, and you can come up with the corks, and you can find a way to secure the corks. I mean, that's another way of doing it. But as far as regular wine bottles are concerned, not even going to work. Let's see. This one doesn't use CO2 canisters, though. Really? When I do the review of this video, and I'll come back to yours in a second. I'm going to look up or do a Google search on Sparkle to find out what that actually does to help carbonate your wine. Yeah, I'm going to look that up. Thanks for the idea. Well, I'm not going to use it for this channel because, again, most people really aren't going to have that just lying around their kitchen, so that kind of defeats the purpose of this channel. But I might want to look it up just for reference. No, I have some Whistle Pig that I am willing to share if you would like to try it. No, I have no idea what that is. Okay, at all. I'll have to Google it. Just like with that dough starter that you posted on your Facebook page. I have to Google that one too. Okay. But yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see why not at all. Also, another thing, since I really haven't had a chance to talk to you about it yet, don't know about next month, but next month possibly, I'd like to get you over here to join the crowd during one of these live streams. If not that, then one of the videos for the one of the taste testings subsequent to, or following that. This one doesn't use any ginger, maybe a ginger cherry. Are we talking about as a wine or as a ginger type beer? I think that would work either way. Bill D, I'm a newbie in winemaking. Well, that's the purpose of this channel. I enjoy sweet fruit wine with moderate amounts of alcohol. Okay, doable, but you really have to be careful about which wine yeast that you are currently using. If you're going to be using, glad I brought this. Now, I use Red Star because that's what I started with, and that's pretty much what I'm going to use. A lot of you guys are Lowland fans out there, so I can't really help you with that. But say, for instance, you're using Red Star and you're using the yellow packet, which is their Premier Blanc or their Premier Cuvée, which goes up to an alcohol tolerance of 18%. The only way you're going to get a sweet wine, well, you're not going to get the low alcohol. You're going to have a high alcohol, and you can then back sweeten it any way you want. But if you're using something like their Premier Côte de Blanc, which has a very low alcohol tolerance of, I think, 14%-ish, then yeah, you can probably get away with having low alcohol and sweet wine. Or you can just simply go to the store and buy some Carlo Rossi, in which case you're going to have very low alcohol and very sweet wine. Okay, let's see. How much sugar should I use? Well, to answer the rest of your question, I really can't help you with that because, again, it does depend on which yeast you're using. Some yeast will, again, leave you with a fair amount of residual sweetness, and some will not. They will simply go very dry, which brings up the back sweetening issue. You might want to check out my video on back sweetening to give you kind of an idea of how you can get around that. There are ways of being able to have a sweet wine with low alcohol. One way, of course, would be to use sulfites, which I don't use on this channel. Another way would be to use non-fermentable sugars, like xylitol or mannitol, but they're kind of pricey, which is why I don't use them anymore. They solve a lot of problems, but I just don't use them anymore. But yeah, that's about all I can say for that. Can't really help you out beyond that. Let's see. No, sure, I will bring the bread. For those who don't know, no has become something in the COVID age, the lockdown period, has become a baker. She's into her baking phase. So if she does do the live stream or the taste testing and she brings a loaf of bread, we'll have that piled in front of us. And, instead of me drinking this, I'll be munching down on a slice of bread. Watermelon beer. Oh, come on, Sat. You're coming up with these are not wines that I'm going to make. You can throw them out there, but these are not wines that I'm going to make. I am going to try a watermelon wine, even though the reviews on watermelon wines, you either love it or you don't. And there's a lot of people that don't. Apparently, it's kind of a hard wine to make overall. It's not, what I've been reading recently, it's not a quick wine, so it's something that's going to take at least 12 months minimum to start developing flavors. I have my doubts about that one at all, but it is one that I'm going to make when watermelons come in season, just so I can say I did it. And if I can do it successfully and it tastes like something, then we'll find out during the tastings. If not, then we're going to find out during the tastings that it just didn't work. But no, I'm told watermelon wine is actually kind of difficult. You might think it seems simple, and some of the videos that I've seen makes it look simple. But again, that one, the opinions on that one are all over the map. Let's see, Malcolm, which fruit wine is it? Malcolm, this is like the third time I've answered this question. Okay, this live stream, but because you asked, I will answer. If I have to narrow it down to just one, it probably will still be the dark cherry wine as my personal favorite. Okay. Yeah, well, there's so many now, but yeah, the dark cherry is one that definitely is one that I'll have on the repeatability list where I'm going to make over and over again over time. Not necessarily for this channel, but just for my own personal taste, to answer that question. All right. Additional, what time is it? It's coming up on 8:24 here, Eastern time. Normally I let these things run. I used to keep them at a 1 hour, but now I let them run an hour and a half. I'm going to cut this one off in about 5 more minutes, unless the questions kind of stop. But as we have now with Bander, hello, brother, please translate the clips into Arabic. How am I going to do that? I'm English. I'm an English speaker. There is a service that does translations that you can do that. And I do get the occasional Arabic speaker in the comment sections from time to time. It's not like a big thing, but I do get those coming in from time to time. And I do have to use Google Translate to translate the comments so that I can respond by using Google Translate to translate back into the Arabic language. I mean, I don't mind doing that. But in terms of translating an entire video, I don't see that happening anytime soon, because these videos are actually a fair amount of work in and of themselves. And it's not so much just the videos, but after each video, I usually end up getting about 20 comments for that particular video, in addition to the other wines that I've already produced that I continue to get comments on. It actually takes a fair amount of my day just to respond to comments. So going into translations, it would be a nice feature for the channel to be able to translate into various other languages. I won't do it personally, but if the channel becomes more and more popular, I get more and more subscribers, I start getting more and more revenue, ad revenue. I don't see why I would not want to do that as a service. But as it stands right now, I just don't have the resources to do it. Just don't have the resources to do it, which is why, I'm relying on donations and super chats and super stickers and all of that to help buy a camera for this channel. That's what I have to do. And right now, resources cannot be directed towards doing translation services in other languages at this time. Sorry. Let's see. Willie Robinson, when making wine. Okay. I'm sure there's more to follow with that question. Sat, I won't respond. To that, because I don't do that sort of comparison. You'll just have to wait for the respective videos to taste testing videos to come out, but I don't do one wine versus in comparison to another on this channel. It's just not something I have really time to do. Willie, you might want to elaborate more on your what appears to be a question. Yep, that's as far as it got when making wine. So you might want to follow up on that within the next few minutes. Oh, so missed your earlier one, Willie Robinson. Is there any difference between using brown sugar and white sugar? Other than the fact that the brown sugar gives you more of a molasses flavor, and brown sugar is definitely one that I would use when I'm making banana wines. Don't know if I used it in the, I can't remember if I used it in the coconut wine. I think I did. It's been so long, I can't remember. But I think those are the only two wines in which I've used brown sugar so far. With the, again, and I made mention of this before, with the banana wine. It was a half and half mixture that I used because I wasn't quite sure about using brown sugar at all. But after doing the, I think the initial 6-month tasting, I now realized that I should have went all brown sugar when I made that particular recipe. But so far, that's about the only thing I can say now. When I use brown sugar in most of the other wines, No, because the recipes aren't asking for it. If the initial recipe does not specify brown sugar, then I won't use brown sugar, because a lot of these recipes are first-time efforts. So I really don't know what to expect, which is why the recipes are kept as simple as possible, so that I'll at least have an idea of what the wine tastes in its basic form. If I decide to do the wines again subsequent later on, and want to start adding spices or different types of sugar, or this, that, and the other, then yeah, at least I'll know what the original wine kind of sort of was supposed to taste like before I start making those kinds of changes. Let's see. Alcohol is not sold. I ran into that before. We make it at home. Oh, okay. I'm not quite sure. Well, I know it can't be sold in most Arabic countries. I know I'm not quite sure about the legalities of it being produced in certain Arabic countries, which is why I think some of the questions that I've gotten from Arabic countries, I've kind of shied away from providing a more proper response, because I don't want to break some other countries' laws in that regard. I have to do a little bit of looking into finding out if it is legal to produce at home, but you can't buy it at your corner party store, basically. And if that is indeed the case, then I'll be a little bit more forthcoming with my responses to some of the questions that I get from Arabic-speaking countries. But until I'm certain, I don't want to make nobody mad, so I'm just going to play it safe on that one. But I will look into it. Brad Palmer. I would like to try making a maple syrup wine or mead, but need to find a good recipe, as good maple syrup costs a fortune in this country. It does. And even the maples, and when I'm making pancakes, yeah, I don't buy Mrs. Butterworth or HMM or name change. They don't call it that anymore. I forgot what they're calling that now. But no, I don't buy that kind of stuff. When I started losing weight, or decided to lose weight, I've got an unopened bottle of maple syrup and an unopened box of pancake syrup that I don't open or use anymore, because I don't really need extra calories. But I understand what you're saying. Don't really have a recipe for you. Again, that's just something you're going to have to, until I've done a maple syrup wine. I'll have to look at the cost of that. I know I splurged when I did the black currant wine that's currently in primary. I'll probably rack that in a day or so. I'll have to look at the cost of doing that. I can't really do a lot of splurge items for this channel. Things just want to keep things, not only that shoestring budget concept. I want to maintain that as much as possible. Every now and then, yeah, I will splurge, and will specify that this is a splurge item, but that's not something that I will do on a regular basis. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I will give it 1 minute for last questions, and then we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, for those of you who came late, this channel is trying to procure a new camera for this channel, so I can stop using my cell phone to do my videos and live streams, something more proper for the occasion. So super chat, super stickers, and a link to the channel's PayPal donation page can be found, or will be found, in the comment section or the description section of this video once YouTube has processed it and it's been put online. Okay, well, finally, my son has finally decided to join one of my chats. I mean, he's going to wait till like the last minute to say hi. Don't know what happened to my daughter, but I'm glad you stopped by, Charles. Appreciate it. Could have asked a question. You could have chimed in. You could have made mention of the wines that you were given, last summer, as a first person testimony to how good the wines were. Or if the wines were not good, you could have made mention of that too. This is an open channel, but I'm glad you chimed in. Let's see. All right, and with that, I will say good night. It's been a good hour and a half. Again, the mid-month live stream I don't know if I'm going to do that in about a week or so. I'm going to try it and we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't seem to pan out, then I might give it another try the following month. But if it doesn't seem to be a likable thing, then it's something I won't do any further. I'll just keep it to the 1 month format. Let's see. Final questions, and then that's it. Okay. Last comment from my daughter. Jesus, that wine was amazing. Was a little tipsy after tasting. Yeah, okay. That's what I want to hear. I mean, yeah, he's my son, so it's biased. That's what I want to hear. And with that, folks, I'm going to say good night. I'll see you at the next live stream. Oops. And that button.